Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Louise Hobart begins now.
Good evening. Authorities have determined a bushfire which raged dangerously close to Hobart homes yesterday was accidentally caused by a power tool. The Tasmania Fire Service says sparks quickly ignited vegetation, issuing a warning to prevent a repeat.
Water bombers and planes tear through the smoky haze, frantically dumping water. As flames ripped through bushland at Denern and Mount Nelson yesterday afternoon, creeping dangerously close to homes. Residents today feeling lucky their properties were saved.
It was on the corner of our fences, but then it went that way, so just lucky. Lucky for me, but it could have been worse for them up there.
Around 80 firefighters and 8 aerial units tackled the blaze. Many locals tried to stay calm.
I've been through this before, so you just be sensible and just listen to what they instruct you to do.
Crews monitored any hotspots in the area overnight, left blackened today with 1.5 hectares burnt, as investigations revealed the cause.
They were using a brush cutter. It was a metal blade on that had struck a rock, and then the sparks from that ignited a small fire. And then very shortly, and because of the terrain and a bit of wind, it took no time at all for that to become a large fire. Prompting
a reminder by the Tasmania Fire Service.
Just be conscious when you're working outside and doing anything that might produce either flame or fire or any sparks, is that if you had a garden hose nearby, or just consider what you do have around you, that you may be able to make it even safer.
A $50,000 cubby house was destroyed, but thankfully nearby homes were untouched and the blaze was quickly contained, thanks to a special coordinated attack and thermal imaging developed from the Dunalley bushfires in 2013.
We get our ground troops here, so our volunteers turn up in numbers. We get our aircraft in as well, and through coordination we're able to have a real serious attack on the fires, keep the fires small, contain it, protect the property and protect the community.
The TFS has praised residents here with houses that came within metres of the fire who were prepared and had bushfire plans in place.
We did issue an emergency warning yesterday. When they're issued, people know what to do. If they're safe, it makes it so much easier for us.
All of us were doing what we had to do, just try and clear your gutters, hose your home down and close your windows and just wait it out.
Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
Meanwhile, fire crews are patrolling a bushfire that burnt through almost 1,800 hectares of land in the state's northeast. The Pipers Brook Road Fireground has been handed back to Sustainable Timbers Tasmania and the local fire district for management. The blaze began almost a fortnight ago and was a result of a burn-off gone wrong. Businesses in the area, including local vineyards, have returned to normal operating hours. Meanwhile, rough and remote terrain is making a bushfire in the Franklin-Gordon Wild Rivers National Park difficult to control. The blaze is around 340 hectares and is on Aboriginal land. Water-bombing aircrafts have been assisting over recent days to fight hotspots and reduce the spread. The fire was first detected by satellite on Tuesday, with the cause of the ignition unknown at this stage. Visitors are being urged to stay away from the Gordon Dam and local walking tracks. The state government is coming under increasing pressure to scrap the Check-in Tas system entirely. Tasmania's COVID case numbers are remaining steady, recording 555 new infections today, but there are concerns public compliance is declining.
Just 48 hours after Check-in Tas received a major overhaul, many Tasmanians have been left scratching their heads about why it still exists.
Melbourne and Sydney are not doing it. They said they put it in the bin, essentially. I think to myself, why would we do it here?
There's a lot of people just walking in, and especially like places like Bunnings and places like that where you just walk in and, you know, everyone's used to do it, but now they're just walking through.
Well, I think a lot of people have been using it less. But yeah, myself, I've been logging in everywhere I go.
QR codes have been scrapped across retail, schools and some hospitality venues, while pubs, bars and casinos must keep the barcode system in place, at least for the next few weeks. Since August, only 2 businesses have been slapped with infringements and 6 people have been issued cautions for breaching check-in rules, while no fines or cautions have been handed down to unvaccinated people in licensed venues, leaving some questioning the effectiveness of current restrictions.
But Tasmanians are struggling to follow the logic, what the Premier's announced, and when you don't understand it and when it's not clearly communicated, it's hard to expect high compliance.
Well, we'll be taking further advice, and clearly there's a trend in terms of taking down those restrictions, and I know Tasmanians are looking forward to that.
Meanwhile, there's still around 50 teachers yet to provide evidence they're fully vaccinated. For now, the Education Department says they can continue to be paid while working from home, but it's expected they'll be formally suspended from duty in the near future. Advice on a booster mandate for Tasmanian workers in high-risk settings is under consideration by the state government, while shipments of Novavax are due in the coming weeks to help arm Tasmanians against COVID. AINSLEY, KOCH, 7 Tasmania News.
It's Airbnb for parking. A car spot rental service is soaring in popularity, especially in Hobart, where spaces are often scarce. PARKHOUND has seen an almost 200% increase in bookings as commuters seek alternatives and residents look to capitalise.
18-year-old BRIEANNA Hill recently made the move from Launceston to Hobart for university, but with limited parking in the city, she was at a crossroads on what to do with her car.
Moving to another city, it was already daunting of having to move out of home for the first time, and having to be able to look for a spot for my car too was, scary. So being able to have this as an option was really handy.
She came across PARKHOUND, which allows residents with spare car spots to rent them out on a monthly or yearly basis.
It could be a driveway, lock-up garage, car space, could be some spots behind their office. We also have sporting clubs often that will, and churches that rent out spots when they're not using them during the week. On average, in Hobart, for example, our hosts are earning around $250 to $300 a month for a spot sort of in and around the CBD.
CATHRYN FULTON has been letting people park at her Battery Point property for the last few years.
It's a real premium in our suburb. It's very hard to find car spaces at affordable prices. So for us, it was a win-win. It's easy. It's no impact on us. We only rent them out midweek, not on weekends. So we have privacy during the week.
It's also proving popular as an alternative to public transport during the pandemic.
Just week on week, we saw a 194% spike. This time of the year is typically very busy because people are looking for that sort of year ahead. But yeah, we're seeing a very steady rise in demand, and we need more spots actually. There's more demand than supply at the moment in Hobart.
LETITIA WALLACE, 7 Tasmania News.
Family and friends of soldiers who fought in the 2nd 40th Battalion in Timor and were captured by Japanese forces have gathered to commemorate the 80th anniversary at Hobart's Anglesey Barracks. Dallas Harding's grandfather was the last remaining Tasmanian soldier of the battalion before he died 2 years ago.
So coming along to these events today is really important to reflect and remember what the 2nd 40th went through. And it was always important for Pop to know that we carried on in this tradition and met up every year.
For all the people here today, part of the 2nd 40th family, shall we say, it's very, very important, and it will continue.
This year marks the 77th annual reunion. The future of AgFest is locked in after securing further funding from the state government. $850,000 has been committed to Rural Youth Tasmania to help grow the organisation.
It certainly helps us out, but we are in full swing. We have over 400 exhibitors on the books already. We've got another 2 weeks before it closes, so we're pumped that we'll certainly get to a 500 exhibitor mark.
The 3-day event begins on August 24. Tasmania has a thrilling run chase on its hands heading into an enthralling final day in the Sheffield Shield. Jason Sanger and Matthew Gilks both scored half centuries for Blues before Tom Andrews and Bo Webster each snagged 3 wickets for the Tigers. Tasmania has been set 290 for victory in the final innings. Currently, they're 1 for 19 at stumps. The Jack Jumpers have kept the Illawarra Hawks on their toes in Wollongong. Sam McDaniel shooting 20 points in 11 minutes to give the Jackies the halftime lead.
One last chance, McDaniel on the buzzer. He's got himself a 20-piece McNugget at halftime.
The Jack Jumpers are currently up by 11 points in the third quarter.
Good evening everyone. Hobart, the state's top today of 25 degrees, Launceston and Burnie both 22 and 20 in Devonport. Across the state, 24 in Grove, St Helens and Friendly Beaches 23, 21 on the islands and in Smithton, and Strawn and Low Head both 20. High-level cloud can be seen covering Tasmania today, moving off the east this afternoon, while a cold front arrives in the west. Looking further out, that cold front in the state's west is directing cold, low-level cloud over the Bight, while high-level cloud ahead of that front is moving further inland. Much of Western Australia and the north are cloud-free. Tomorrow, a large high enters the Bight and ridges across Victoria, South Australia and much of Western Australia. The trough across the north bends down the coast of WA and into inland Queensland. West to southwesterly winds tomorrow 20 to 30 knots, reaching 30 to 40 knots about the south during the morning, swells 3 to 4 metres in the west and south. And there is a gale warning current for the lower east and southeast coasts and the southwest and central west coasts, and a strong wind warning for parts of the north and east coasts and some inshore waters around the state. Possible showers and 17 in Hobart and Ouse tomorrow, 18 in Dover. Launceston, partly cloudy and 21, Devonport and Scottsdale both 19. 18 degrees in Burnie tomorrow, showers and 17 in Strawn, Stanley a top of 20. Partly cloudy and 22 in St Helens, 19 in Swansea and Ross reaching 18. And the UV tomorrow is reaching very high 8s right across the state. Looking on to Tuesday, fine apart from the chance of showers about the northeast. Showers in the north on Wednesday, mainly about higher ground. And on Thursday, showers clearing in the west during the afternoon, possible thunderstorms about northeastern and central areas. Sunny and 35 in Perth tomorrow, cloudy in Melbourne and Adelaide, Sydney and Brisbane both 30 and 35 degrees in Alice Springs and Broome. Currently Hobart 23 degrees and mostly sunny, mostly cloudy and 19 in Launceston, and Devonport also 19 and mostly cloudy. And Lou, another cooler day tomorrow.
Then it warms up, I think. Thanks for that, Chelsea. That's all your news for now. Thank you for joining us. Have a lovely evening. Good night.